My name is Jacco van der Kooij. I'm founder of Winning by Design. I do speak fluently Dutch. I am originating from Tiel, the Netherlands. I've pretty much was raised on 25 years of working behind a fryer, having my family having cafeteria. Okay, it's not pretty. It was a lot of hard work. So I want to engage a little bit of you, okay? Because I want to get you guys going. It's going to be easy. We're not going to be hugging each other. We're not going to be shaking hands with strangers. So none of that. But I do need to know what my audience is like. So here's where I want to start. Do you know what, obviously all of you know a little bit about golf is, right? So I want to hear a nice and polite golf clap. Can I hear a nice and polite golf clap? Okay, good, good, good. Now I want to hear a nice and polite clap when the opponent has scored a goal and you feel like you have to clap, okay? Give me a little bit louder. Now that is a 3, okay? Just to give you an anticipation, we're working up to a level 10, which is how later on I'm going to introduce the CEO and founder of Binder, who have given us this wonderful location, okay? So give me a number 4 clap, a little louder. Okay, a 5. A 6. Okay, stop. Now I invite you, as we move to 7, 8, and 9, to add your voice, okay? So feel free to go, woo, woo, right? But at the end, I want to hear a nice and loud, all-in, everybody inclusive, if we just won the World Championship of something, right? In my case, Max Verstappen just won the Formula 1, okay? So give me a 7. Yeah. An 8. A 9. Give me a 10. That is the starting position of later on introducing. Are you ready for that, Chris?
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay. Okay, I don't know if I had a presentation. I don't need one, but if it's on, give me the clicker. Oh, the art of making love. Now, some of you may think, what the heck is this about? And I like for you to be that way, okay? I like you to consider. But what I'm about to tell you today is not a nice to have. This is not something that came from a thesis somewhere worked in a shed, okay? This is working with real companies, learning what went wrong and how incredibly wrong it went. I assume many of you get an email like this every other day. More a day, perhaps? And probably some of you are telling your sales teams to send emails like this. These outbound-driven email messages have stopped working, okay? I'm going to explain to you to the full extent that is, but let me point out a few things. Great to be connected on LinkedIn. I. Here's what I want. I want you to test yourself every email you read. Everything they want is, I happen to stumble upon you. I specialize in blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested? Okay, now this is becoming a problem that is not like a small problem. This has reached absolute epidemic proportion. Second thing is, we see social selling happening. If it wasn't bad enough for us sending that email, we're now using LinkedIn to go outbound, okay? For those of you who ever reach out to me via LinkedIn, the moment you start selling, I immediately disconnect. Social selling is an oxymoron, meaning those two words do not co-combine very well together, okay? I hear all the time, social selling, it doesn't work the way it is advertised. I can tell you I'm pretty decent at it. Do you know how long it took me to become good at it? How many people you need to have in your network? Only 1% approximately can really get good at it. What does the other 99% do? Now that is the challenge, okay? Here we see the decreasing performance of current sales generating leads from outbound generating campaigns using social selling and outbound email nature. What we see to the left is the amount of SQLs that were generated before in the range of 25 to 30 in the beginning days. Today, that is torpedoing. We have now reached several companies who are only generating 4 or 5 SQLs every month through their outbound sales activities. Should we even call it sales? What we see is that there's actually the way that we think about sales does not universally apply anymore. Many of the models that you see today are based on Aaron Ross' 2-stage sales funnel. An SDR finds a lead. That lead is set up for a meeting that the AE then has to close, so to speak. That model has a very limited capability in a very narrow range, as identified down here. In other words, if you have an ACV of 30,000, your SDR needs to generate at least 5 SQLs per month. If your ACV, annual contract value, goes down, you naturally need to generate more leads. This is a problem for most sales organizations. For those of you who run very low-based ACVs in the range of like $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year, you come to this model like, hey, a two-stage sales model doesn't work. Exactly right. The client acquisition costs are too much. Now, there's a reason for that. Second, another problem that we see down here, for those of you very familiar with enterprise sales, is that the Rainmaker model no longer works. Well, what's the Rainmaker model? Rainmaker model stands for 20%. It's called the 20-80 rule. Does anybody know what 20-80 means, the 20-80 rule means? Yes, sir.
20% of your revenue. Okay, that 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers.
80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, okay? Sorry, of 20% of your people. So may I ask, what does the other 80% do?
Not much for sure.
The other 20%, right? Okay, yeah. So here's the problem. If I lower the ACV, which this model, 20-80, generally worked extremely well in high contract value numbers. If I sold $1 million a year, like Vince Murtica sold Disney for me for $10 million a year. On an annual quota of $12 million, deal was split over 2 years. That meant that he brought in $5 million against quota that year. That's a Rainmaker. Okay, a lot of salespeople can live off that one deal. But if I start lowering the ACV, suddenly that 20-80% doesn't work anymore. Now here's the big problem in B2B. B2B enterprise sales is entirely from the ground up designed and structured around the 20-80 rule. The way how we comp people, the way how we hire people, the way how we bring them on and train. Everything that you see is 20-80 rule based. Yet at the low ACV, the remaining 80% of the team now needs to participate to a full 80%. When they previously did 20%, that means a 4-time multiplier of performance. That is a significant issue which most B2B SaaS companies are dealing with every day. Now, because of this, like we represented about over the past years about close to 200 companies, and we saw this everywhere. I saw this in almost every company. Their inside sales organization started to collapse and fall onto themselves. So you see down here a note that went out late last year, an advisory note to several VCs companies saying we need to stop doing this. And in particularly because these were the most counterproductive commonplace issues that we found, or the resolutions that they found. Number one, the constant hiring and firing. Now don't get me wrong, sales is a performance-driven function. And for those of you who are CEOs in this audience, I would want to make sure that in your job descriptions on your website, in the first interview that you make with a sales performer, in the first day on the job, in their onboarding process, mention the following. You are aware that this is a performance-driven function, right? There can be no suspense. There can be no suspicion. Sales is a performance-driven function. Keep that mindset clear, okay? I don't want us to soften up later on. But you can't fire and hire and think that that is going to solve them and just rotate them, okay? The bottom 10, 20% is fine, but beyond that, that is not an option. Less notice down here, but we see in the US a lot of relocation of sales forces. You know what? San Francisco is expensive. Why don't we hire a sales force in Arizona? And then the last one, increase the action-driven quota. Why don't we have them increase from 20 emails an hour to 100 or 50 calls a day to 100? That doesn't work. This is why we need it. We need something different. We know that sending more emails won't work. We know that hiring and firing until we get the right person, we don't have time for that. We know that social selling, although effective for a few, is not effective enough to lift an entire company towards quota. So we need to do something different. Now, what I'm about to share with you and how to do that is not for the faint-hearted. It's not going to be. Slightly this particular culture, the Dutch culture, will be better suited for it, okay? But it ain't. I don't want you to take this, what I'm about to tell you, as a belief system. I want you to play with it. I want you to think it through. I want you to apply it to your own company and think to yourself, what can I do with this? I want you to take and use this in order to build your imagination, okay? Here it goes. What SaaS companies are using primarily is what is referred to as the land and expand model. In the land and expand model, the primary use is close the customer, get them to sign on the dotted line, then hand it over to customer success, who should be capable enough to get them to happy and love you. This model is everywhere in SaaS companies. Now, some companies are a little outdated. They only go to the land. Who cares if they're actually happy? But fortunately enough, that we see that less and less. Land versus expand. This is a sales methodology used. Now, in this land, I want to draw up and overlay some of the activities that we commonly see. Okay, so first of all, in order to get a lead, we probably need to call someone, we need to email someone, we need to pitch a story, handle a couple of objections, and then the number one request that we ask as the customer shows interest. What is the request that we have of a lead when he says like, yeah, I'm interested to learn more? What are we asking them to do? Anybody know that? What do we ask the customer? Do you want a meeting? Hallelujah, we want a meeting. May I ask, what is the value of a meeting? I can already tell you, if I ask the founders and CEOs in this company, do you have a 50-minute meeting? You go like, bullshit, I have a 50-minute meeting. Like, I have no 50-minute meeting, right? I don't have time for a 50-minute meeting. Asking for a meeting, per definition, is the wrong thing. Maybe good for the SDR, maybe good for the AE, not good for the customer, okay? Starts the mindset, we're doing something wrong. Meeting, disco demo, we go to proposal, negotiation, close. Boom, that deal came in, ready. I'm so happy. I'm actually ringing the doorbell or ringing the gong or whatever you have. Hallelujah, deal one secured. Thank you very much, sign on the dotted line. Salesperson goes home, maybe get a little commission check, good luck. Goes home, tells his wife or husband, want a deal today. Great. What do you think? Is the customer happy yet? No, Jacco, customer's not happy yet, right? Why in the world are we calling it freaking closed if it's only the start and the beginning of a customer? Now you may think that that is just words. This is culture, and it's deeply ingrained into most corporations. No one wants to be sold, people. Realize this. Whatever, this is a voicemail that was left behind me, and probably my AI didn't completely pick up what it was, but it says pretty much is, I got a free hotel room for you, 2 nights at the Hilton. Please call me back. Do you think I want to talk to that person? Fuck no. Yeah, absolutely not. I know what that means, right? As soon as I give in, I'm into a system and I'm going to be harassed, like literally harassed. Oh, well, you notice that? No, dude, I don't. Actually, I have gone over the age of 40, and for those of you men who have been in that means that Viagra figured out that you're over the year of 40. You know how many voicemails I get free Viagra? Like, no, okay? I don't want to go to the Hilton. I don't want anything for free because I know once I'm in the system is going to rip the guts out of me, okay? Doesn't work. So people do not want to be sold. Think of yourself. How many people of you want to really get sold on something? No. Now, being customer-centric is not an easy thing. So if I'm going to start to talk to you about like, hey, we need to think different about customer-centric, well, everybody freaking talks about it. Everybody says, oh, I'm customer-centric, right? You know, it's really hard to be customer-centric, okay? And so I'll let you read the thing that it says down here. You know, it was adapted previously from big data, but the point is the same thing. It is really hard to be customer-centric. Now, I can make it simple for you, and the simplicity is this. If you think about it, when do you really make a profit? When do you really make money on a customer? Do you make money on a customer when you close them down here at a $1,000 a month subscription? No. Where do we make the money?
Lifetime value.
Probably here somewhere, right? Is that right? We're probably going to make money here somewhere. I know some of you lucky ones say, no, I made profit here. Okay, good luck. You don't need funding. You're good to go, okay? Good luck. Don't even be here today, right? But everybody else, you make money here in future years, future revenues, future months. That's where you make money. So why is there a big honking dollar sign over there? There seems to be something awfully wrong. The other thing is, any of you, who of you closes deals? Who is in sales closing deals? Raise your hands. That's way too few people. Okay, pretty much all founders should raise their hands all the time, okay? Every founder, CEO, you should raise your hand. Okay, but the point here is money comes to the back. That's one. I could tell you this from personal experience. First of all, I'm not somebody who talks about sales because you read a book, okay? Just want to make sure that you understand. I actually did technically the sales. Like, you know, strap into seat, middle seat, get on an airplane, flying over there. The worst experience I had was sitting in front of a customer door waiting for a $400,000 offer that our CEOs had agreed to because we shared a VC. We were $400,000 short, and they told me, go get the purchase order, sit in the office until you get it. Not pleasant behavior, okay? But lived it, done it, and you know, like, I understand. Do you know why my customers buy from me and why they bought from my team? Not because we had the best pitch, that's one thing. Not because I've written the purchase order up so incredibly beautiful, it was a great experience, none of that. They believed with true intent that I actually wanted to help them solve their problem. Not because I could look at them that way, or because I had great, you know, like improv skills or anything, but actually because when I sat in front of a customer, I actually was interested in solving their problem. I'm going like, crap, this is a problem. Right, to the point that the largest deal closed, I think it was $28 million that I came up with. I was on a Saturday night, midnight, shuffling pizza down to the engineer doors on-site in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Essentially what happened is, love comes first, money comes second. Customers honestly believe that when I'm looking at their business, my intent is to help solve the problem first. This is the sales of the future. This is what we're currently seeing prevailing everywhere. Do not go after the money first. Trust that the money will follow, okay? If the money doesn't follow, that is a problem that has occurred down here. It's a pain fit issue. Redirect lead sources, okay? Solve the customer's problem. I say it very easily. I know for many of you it's hella complicated to get those leads, okay? It is. So solve their problem first. Now, even the most average salesperson, every now and then will close a deal, okay? It is just the nature of their business, okay? Some of them will keep for the next 20 years talking about it to the point that you go like, is that the only deal you close? No, there's like, you know, like, but everybody wins one. What we need to do is, how can we win gazillions of them? How do you do that? How can we make, and what I call the art of making love? Okay, so here's what I'm going to explain to you. Step one. May I ask, so who is this? Were you in sales? Mm-hmm. Okay, what is the first stage of your sales funnel?
Qualifying.
What's the second stage of your sales funnel?
Account executive to do more research.
Research, third one.
We have a pretty short sales cycle, so closing already.
Closing, okay,
Yeah.
but you're like research. Now, what you see is, I won't call you up in the morning and say like, hey, what's your name?
Barney.
Sorry?
Barney, would it be?
Barney. Barney, dude, I loved your pitch yesterday, man. That was freaking awesome. Can you upgrade me from research into negotiation stage? I'm ready for it. Right? Customers don't think like that. But because we make ourselves think like that, guess what is going to happen when I move the deal from opportunity into negotiation? I'm into negotiation mode with the customer. I'm starting to think like that. That's not customer problem solving thinking, that's something else. If we look at standard CRMs, if you look at the default statuses that they come with, they're all very sales-centered stages. Don't think like that. Here's what the customer thinks like, oh shit, I have a problem. Aha, there's a solution. Wow, these folks at Binder, they really are helping me rethink the problem and really help me rethink the solution. I like it. Boom, deployed on time, as delivered within budget. What a surprise. Yeah, it delivered the impact as promised. Oh my gosh, why didn't I know about insert your own company name? This level of thinking is experience thinking. Customers want experiences. They don't want stages. And so what we can see down here, what's the awareness? Awareness is the stage where we say, help them realize that they have a problem. What is the education? The education is the stage where we help them understand the problem in detail and provide them the explanation on solutions. Not the solution, solutions. And what is the wow stage is where they learn about why your solution is the best. You have seen this before. It's why now, why you. You know, there's different kind of stages down here, but these stages go all the way to the end, to the point where they actually are experiencing that. Now, what you see down here is the term, for those of you who have heard of ABM, account-based marketing. In common nomenclature now in the market, it's called spearfishing, meaning instead of net fishing, which was previously the predictable revenue model, I'm net fishing, right? We're now going spearfishing. Who's at the end of the spear? Who would that be? The customer will be at the end of the spear. And what do we do with that spear and the customer? We kill him. And then what do we do when we kill him? There's good restaurants that do stuff with that. We make sushi out of them, right? That is, if we start thinking about net fishing, carpet bombing, goal hunting, whatever we call spearfishing, this is nomenclature that is so deeply engraved into the sales culture. Just imagine you would talk to your life partner in that way. Babe, you want to go spearfishing tonight? Right? You know, like the nomenclature would be completely off. You would not allow for it. But in sales, no, it's great. We need to change that. I'm going to show you how we change, and then I'm going to give you some very practical examples on how you, with the smallest things, can already make significant changes. Okay? Down here, a conversation. It is not the intent of your SDRs or yourself to have a meeting with a customer. That is not what it is about. The goal is to have a conversation. And through the conversation, you learn by asking questions what their problem is. You diagnose. Now, guess what I'm doing if I'm training my salespeople to give a pitch, and along that pitch, to make sure that they know the product. Okay? I taught them the pitch, and I taught them really good about the product. They know the product. Then, they're on the call. Gosh, somebody actually picked up. Start talking back to them. And the salesperson is like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. And so what they're going to do is they're going to fall back on their training. What they're going to do is, well, let me tell you what we have to offer. We have to offer this feature, and this feature. Common behavior. Common behavior. Why? It's not about pitching. They need to learn how to ask the right questions. They need to be taught to learn to diagnose by not only working with open and close-ended question, which is a grasp for many salespeople today, but also with more situational problem questions, and later on implication and other kind of questions. This level of questioning and this diagnose is really needed. Then they don't pitch, they educate. They educate the customer. Okay? Now I'm going to come up to this particular one. What you see down here is trade. This has replaced negotiation. Folks, for you in SaaS, let me explain it once and let me explain it loud and clear. There is no discount in SaaS. None. It doesn't exist, okay? SaaS is not meant to be discounted. It doesn't. SaaS was a solution. If you go back to it, it was $1 million piece of software that was sold at 18% UNS, for those of you who go back, on an annual basis on a 5-year contract. We ripped out that $1 million deal up front, and we now living only on the UNS, the 20% of the money. That's how that model was built, approximately, give or take. If you start discounting that, the compound impact of that are incredibly negative for your business. We make your salespeople calculate it out, and they are completely flabbergasted at what the impact is. For those of you who run a company, please, during sales training, make every salesperson calculate out what the compound impact over 3 years is of 20%. At an increasing list price, by the way. List prices don't stay in SaaS. They go up every year, okay? Now what we see down here is, instead of negotiation, we're teaching them to trade. I didn't say that you could not make a price adjustment. I specifically said you could not do a discount, but you can trade. So if a customer asks, you know, like, do you have, like, this is a little, well, the Dutch people are really annoyingly good about this, but okay, so how are we going to adjust the price? Then your response is, may I ask, what can you give me in return? Like, what do you mean, what are you going to return? Well, my product is valued at $1,000 a month. I understand that you're trying to get it to $800 a month. Are there things of value that you can give me in return? I don't know. What are you looking for? This is what needs to happen. Salespeople need to have a list of trading items. Number one item. What is the first thing that we want out of everything before when we start getting it out? What do you guys think? What do we want first? Sign now. Getting a good. This is often. Can you sign? May I ask? Can you sign today? Good question. That's right. Okay. Buying a CEO is a good sales guy. We need to leverage that. Yeah. Next one up. Case study. Would you willing to participate to case study? Number 2. What's the next thing? Referral. Remember early on I said it's hard to get leads? This is your time. Say, excuse me, sir, if I can, I'm more than welcome to work with you. But may I ask, would you be willing to introduce me to 3 people? So, so I can at least make it myself worthwhile with other people? Sure, I'm more than welcome to do that. Referral, okay? These are things. Now, you complete that list. Now you train your salespeople to do this. You train them to ask the questions. There's no negotiation, but there is trading. Trading happens on the same side of a table. Trading actually means that I'm asking for something of equal or more value in return. Therefore, I'm not devaluing my product, okay? Also, you write it down in such a way, long detail, that it doesn't come back to you to year 2. Guess what? If you want in year 2, if you give me in year 1 3 referrals and a use case, and I'm coming back to you and it says in year 2 I want the same discount, what are you going to say to me? What do you want back in return for that? 3 more referrals and another use case, right? Like the value, you have to come back to that. Now, what you see down here, on the upside, there's also a lot of activities down here. Onboard, use, and grow, and help a customer grow the business. SaaS 1.0, we got to here. SaaS 2.0, we got kind of like to here. And in SaaS 3.0, where most of the businesses are entering right now, it is not just about making your customers happy. It's about making sure that your customers are growing the business to enough extent that you can actually reap some of the benefits from that. Now, here are 2 models side by side. All I'm asking of you, think about this. Who wants to talk to the left versus the right? Unless you're my brother, he loves to talk to the left. He's unique. But most people would arguably say to the right, but let that be your own decision. Who do you want to talk to? How should your salesperson that is selling you something, how do you want to be treated? What we found, and I can't state this enough, that this was the strangest thing, that most of the time salespeople actually needed to be taught the following: tonation of the voice, how to speak with excitement, or how to speak, calm down and sound more senior. How to speak with authority by lowering their voice and letting a customer know that you really know what you're talking about. This control of the tone does not only go verbally, it goes also in email. How do you write tonation? How do you create tonation in an email? Give you an example. Every call to action being addressed in an email should be preceded by a first name. It's not, do you want to meet with me? Bad action item, I'll come back to that. It should be, Bill, do you want to meet with me? That's a form of a tonation of a voice by using somebody's name first. It can also be using emoticons, where you're text messaging or where you're chatting with them. Second, asking questions, open, close-ended. May I ask, how was your weekend? Great. What made it great? It was nice weather. By asking a close-ended question, how was your weekend? He says great. I am automatically able to ask what made the weekend great. Open versus close-ended. Skill set that salespeople need to learn how to develop. Listening actively. For those of you who are recruiting salespeople, okay, listening actively arguably is one of the biggest key skills that we see that differentiate sales teams. The ability that when you ask a question, to actively listen to the question. Now, with newbie salespeople, we see this a lot, right? They ask a good question and the question is done. And they're like so excited. This is a good question, right? Good question. That was such a great question, right? The customer's blabbing. Oh, this was okay. I got another one. I got prepared another one, Jacco. I'm gonna ask this question, right? And like, Ditsky, what did the customer say? Fuck what he said, man. I got another question. And you gotta learn how to listen. The idea of the question is to listen to the answer, right? And the next one is when the customer then responds, you need to elaborate. So if a customer said, if I ask a customer, oh, I have a particular problem, and this is the problem, it's giving me a lot of headaches, and it's particularly because of this dashboard and that dashboard. then most people would ask, oh, may I ask what dashboards are you looking for? But an active salesperson does something different. Do you know what they do? What gave you a headache? Headache is emotional. Emotional supersedes rational. This level of training is very hard for salespeople because there's no concept, there's no ability, there's no university that is teaching you all this. Okay? Go for the emotional part. You listen, you heard what the customer said. You heard an emotional over a rational point, a pain point, a frustration point. You ask and you elaborate on the emotional point. Now, I skipped the keynotes part because like most, that is skipped by everyone, okay? To give you an idea, and with many of our clients that we train, we actually say, at a certain point in time, I tell them, here's the 3 key things you need to know to be successful. If you don't know this, you're gonna fail, okay? Then I see like maybe 10, 20% takes notes. Looking at the CEO, I'm going like, that one, ready for promotion. Everybody go like, why, what? Well, they took freaking notes, okay? Like if I give somebody notes about this is how you're gonna change your business, and this is so key, and you're not even taking notes, like do you really think you can remember this? Right, I already gave you like knowledge bombs today. It's very hard to remember this. This keeps on going. It is never ending. Keeping notes in the interview process. Give your interviewee, give them 5 things. Here's the 5 things what I need to talk about to you about today. They don't take notes? Sure. Hey, I forgot number 4 and 5 I was going to talk to you about. Can you remember me? Can you remind me? Oh, I forgot. Okay, well that's probably not a good thing because if my customer is then telling you 5 issues and you're not able to remember the 5 issues, that's not going to be a good machine for me. That's not going to be a good experience. Keeping notes, very critical. Repeat what you've heard. Due to multicultural societies that we are all part of, we often do not hear the customer correctly or we misinterpret it incorrectly. And so we have to repeat. Did I hear it correctly? Did you want a 20% discount, month-to-month payment, you wanted no contract at all, and you wanted 6 features for free? Did I get that right? Yes, you got that right. Just simply by repeating what you've heard, you're already helping everybody realize what is being asked. Repeat what you've heard. This spells stalker. This is literally an experience that every salesperson should not be good at. It's not like, oh, I'm great at it every now and then. You better freaking excel at it. This is the absolute base trait of yourself as a salesperson. Salesperson do not know that. Now you may know and you may recognize this as salespeople as natural skill. This actually can be taught. This can be taught by basic repetitive skills. It's nothing more than muscle memory. Now what we see down here, in order to remember all this, it is becoming quite a feature, okay? So what you see down here is Ryan Mendes over at Game Site who has all these things. What are the top questions to ask? How to do this, how to do that? If a customer is this particular profile, which question should I ask? This is what a professional online sales look like. Now, granted, and some of you have been reading my post, a lot of these screens are going to be digitized, okay? A lot of this information is going to come and going to be, through AI, are going to be circled. The moment in time that you click, I'm competing with Microsoft, you know, the Microsoft starts to appear. The moment in time that you click, I'm talking to a COO, the COO questions, the value prop starts to appear. This will change and becomes dynamic, okay? We don't have to worry about that. But I like to start to see first, do they have this? Not having this, if you walk over to your salespeople and they don't have this, guess what they're doing? They're fucking winging it. Okay, they're winging it. As an athlete, I represented the Netherlands at triathlon. Do you think that you wing it? No, discipline every day, your schedule, you know, swimming, biking, running, training, discipline, repetitive. What makes you a professional, the reason why you pay salespeople to do their job is not to win an account once in every 10 years, okay? It is to deliver an 80% guaranteed performance day in, day out. That is what states a professional. You can't go to a soccer player and say, well, maybe you only score once every 20 games, okay? That's good. If you're a striker, you need to deliver consistently. A performance-driven function. Look, I don't know whether Ryan will hit his number year over year. I know that these trophies that he's gotten here and this, you know, like part of the president clubs is indicative. But I can tell you this, if he can do it, then there's a different problem. It's not him who's the problem. We may not have the right value prop, we may not have the right this or that. But if this doesn't work, different problem. Now, we've created at Winning by Design, we've created these what we call blueprints. You see a few of them down here. How do you open up a call? Appreciate you taking the time. May I ask, are we still good till the top of the hour? Great. Well, what like these steps and checking this particular format helps sales performers to deliver a constant base level of performance. This is creating a new muscle memory with customer-centric mindset. You see down here, are we still good? Asking a question. You see down here, typically at the end of this call we agree to. Does that sound right? We are constantly working with customers like a doctor diagnoses his patients. Now, the other part that we've noticed is the word training. Training is like the word webinar. When somebody goes like, hey, do you want to go on a webinar? No, not really. Webinar pretty much is 1 hour of the first 10 minutes people talking about themselves, then 40 minutes of like whatever they're talking about, but I can't follow it, followed by one call to action about like 38 to 40 minutes into it, and then followed by like some lame Q&A that, you know, whoever asked the question should never be asked to ask the question, right? Webinar is like, ugh. Training is the same thing. People don't want to be trained. Like, people, would you love to sit through a PowerPoint thing, right? Like, fuck no, man. Shoot me now, please. Okay, so PowerPoint, webinars, training, these are all outdated words. They're ugly. They make people feel uncomfortable. It is about coaching, okay? Let me show you what we do down here. You see these all these people? They're all salespeople. Down here is me. You can recognize me. Unofficial world record holder of 14 consecutive Red Bulls. Do not ask me what the side impact was. It wasn't pretty. And so what we see down here, that's me. And what we're doing down here, we are live. We are playing back a recorded call, step by step. Okay? And we're listening to the call, and we're saying, what were you thinking down here? And then the other person, as we listen to a customer talk, I say, stop. Max, finish that sentence. Jennifer, summarize. What did the customer currently say? Right? You need to be on your game. This is what we call Top Gun. We also call it Disco Dojo. This is the level of training that's needed for today to get people on point on selling their solution. Okay? It's no longer training. We call it coaching. Okay? This is hardcore sales training. Now, in an hour, we listen to a phone conversation. Guess how many minutes we get through if we review a full hour's call, and we do that through the full hour. How many minutes do you think we get into the call? We get between 7 and 8 minutes. And often I can already say, all the challenges that they had, customer already disclosed the value prop. They were giving it to you. You simply didn't take it because you were too worried about pitching your next features. Okay, really key. This is the Rainforest Team. What we see as well is that, okay, this is like freaking stupid stuff. We cannot train groups like this very well. We found that actually it is very disengaging. If we are training a group of 12 people somewhere in Amsterdam from San Francisco, we tell the 12 people, go to your desk, open up your computer, put your headset on. Do not go into a room together. It doesn't work. Nose-to-nose distance is not the same. Okay? When everybody goes to the desk, nose-to-nose distance is the same with everyone. In a room, it isn't. People can like bug out. We call people out. Hey, Mike, can you turn your video back on? Because, you know, oh, I'm sorry. We need to see everyone. Down here you see how everybody participates in the meeting. Okay, that is real, and I think that was expenditure, Olaf. Okay, really important. What you see down here is myself talking and then talking, whiteboard and so on. Really engaging. This is how I want you to think about it. You have remote offices. Don't think about putting everybody in a room. Think about connecting with everybody personally. So, what you see down here and what the problem is the art of making love was being able to win a customer not once, not twice, but by doing it repetitively. But the word that I really want to focus on is make. The feeling of, hey, I'm making somebody do something feels odd. It feels like, well, it's like I'm faking it with my customer. It is not the case. I can tell you this as a father of 2 children, that my children do not feel I make them every day love me, okay? It's not like I go today and say, hey, did your dad do something great for you today, right? I don't do that. However, actions that you take every day show that you love your family. Actions that you do for your customer show every day that you love them. That's the reason why they buy from you. And I want to let you know that if you don't do that, if you want to continue to pursue money as the primary objective, I can tell you what the results of that are. I can just point to your emails. Keep sending those volume-based outbound emails. It is not going to work. Now, if sales becomes the key role of them, become to love the customer, help them, and understand what the true problem is in trying to solve them, then I believe that that will be the ultimate differentiator. Your sales team is what truly makes your company unique, but only if you make the way how you sell as important as what you sell. And with that, I want to thank you and give it open up for a round of questions. Where are you going? Okay, put on the lights. Okay, who has an ask questions? Questions. Holy smokes! How can you spot the talent? I can tell you how I spot the talent. Okay, I'm going to a cinema the other day. I'm buying tickets. There's a guy behind the desk. Buy the tickets. He's kind and gentle. Then before I go into the cinema, I take the tickets of my family. And I go to the pizza my heart next door. Grab, go, we eat pizza. As I walk back in, I walk into the cinema. Who is the one that is steering my tickets, you think? Same guy. Okay? Then my family gets seated. I sit everybody, and guess what? First of all, who goes get the popcorn? And remember now how I make my family love me. I'm going to go get the popcorn, right? And so I'm going to go get the popcorn. Who is popping the popcorn? Same guy. What are the 3 other people that are supposed to help customers do? They're not popping popcorn. They're standing there chatting behind the background. Okay? I carry cards with me when I see that happen. Like, what do you make an hour? $8? Why don't you come talk to me? Okay? Good salespeople are good people who work with customers and not afraid to work hard. I don't care about education. The skills that I'm talking about are talker. Can you have a good tonation? And these things I can only train if they're actually participating with the customer. Pick those people up. Starbucks baristas. Anybody. When you run into them, take their name. Those are the right salespeople. How do you constantly keep the sales team motivated? Well, the primary reason of sales teams being motivated is to understand what they want to accomplish, not what you want to accomplish. Okay, I know everybody knows what as a sales leader I want to accomplish. That's pretty clear. Hit goal. What does the salespeople want to accomplish? If I have 10 salespeople, how many of them do you think, and I start off on day 1, how many of you will think will continue to be a salesperson after, say, 2 years? How many? Give me a number. 3? That's about right, 3 or 4. That doesn't mean that the other 5 or 6 were not useful in any means, okay? You just didn't figure out what they want. If you just put them about mass mailing, like customers and giving bad sales pitches, of course, like you should be stupid to, keep doing that, right? But if you teach them a trade, you help them, then you're going to get that more. How do you motivate salespeople? Primarily by finding out what they want to accomplish and put that in line with what you want to accomplish. What does this mean for lead generation prospecting? We believe that lead generation and prospecting, that we are currently undergoing a significant change. Most companies are unaware of that. That change is as follows. Your outbound team's primary goal is to drive inbound. Your outbound team's primary goal is to drive inbound. That means start the conversation online, blog, reshare blogs. That is the primary goal. Let the content do the education. What's your view on SSI? What is SSI? Social selling score. My gosh. Okay, you know the best social sellers? The people with a high social selling score are the best at selling themselves. I don't need people who sell themselves. I need people who can help a customer solve a problem. Okay, so I'm not against it. It is an indicative. Use it, but I'm not saying it is not a telling indicator. And how to politely shorten your sales cycle. The primary reason to short your sales cycle is not by selling them better. It's by finding the people who have a pain and who are a fit with your customers. I know that this sounds basic, but I'll let you know the following. Who's in sales? Who's closing deals? I need an example customer. Okay. Give me an example customer. Microphone to the back. Okay, give me an example customer. Watch what happens. This is critical. Okay, give me an example customer.
A training company.
Give me the name of the person.
John.
John. Now, why do I ask for a person? Because if I ask him for a logo, logos do not sign contracts, people. It's people who sign contracts. So, John, what pain did John have?
Yeah, he has an aging instructor base.
And so he needs what?
He needs to innovate.
He needs to innovate. Okay, so now let me know what company does, so he has an aging constructor base and he needs to innovate. What happens if he doesn't innovate?
Yeah, his people will leave and he'll be left with nothing.
Okay, now here's what I'm now going to go after. I'm going to go after companies who have that follow-on. I don't care whether they're in pharmaceutical. I'm going to go after companies who actually, if they don't do this, his customers are going to leave him. That's the impact. That's what I'm going to go after. So instead, I'm flipping it around. I'm not going to try to figure out who are my customers who are a fit. Oh my God, the entire universe, every bank in the Western Hemisphere. No, I'm going to go after the people who have the pain, and then I figure out if they're a fit. Okay? Very critical skill set. By writing a blog post about that pain, people are then attracted by that. Okay? Makes sense. Last question up. Oh my God, am I done? Dude, I'm ready for another round. Yes, in the back.
How does it impact your procurement cycle?
How does what?
How does it impact your procurement cycle, this whole sales methodology?
How does impact
Your procurement cycle.
my procurement cycle?
Procurement cycle.
Oh. Oh, his customer. So the procurement cycle primarily is held against the following. Well, first things first. If you are in a procurement cycle, you're probably not selling innovation. Why is that? Why is that? Does anybody know? Budget is one. What else? That's right. Procurement cycles are based to flush out the lowest bidder against the minimal spec. Right? That's the whole idea behind an RFP and the whole idea behind a procurement cycle. But if you're selling innovation, you are not actually can sell against the minimum spec. You actually have to send against futures. Make sense? So your first thing about a procurement cycle is you need to get out of a procurement cycle. And I know that sounds a lot easier than it as is, but essentially you have to say no to the procurement cycle. Okay. That is how, so what we say is, how does it impact the procurement cycle? Don't get into a procurement cycle. And if you, but if you, sometimes I get it, sometimes you're into that, right? Okay, follow that, like not every deal is perfect, deal with it, you step through it. Next time, let's get out of the procurement cycle because I know how that's going to end.